Chapter 1. The Quiet Hours. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and drop a like. As midnight approached, SpaceX's massive rocket hangar had fallen into an almost cathedral-like silence. The towering metal structures cast long shadows under the industrial lighting, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that seemed fitting for humanity's next great leap. Among the scattered engineers still working the late shift, Alex Turner sat hunched over his workstation, lines of code streaming across multiple monitors like digital waterfalls. The young software engineer rubbed his tired eyes, pushing his wire-rimmed glasses up his nose. At 28, Alex had already spent 3 years at SpaceX, but tonight felt different. Tonight, he was debugging the final navigation algorithms that would guide the next Mars mission. The weight of responsibility pressed on his shoulders like gravity itself. The hangar's vast doors suddenly echoed with the sound of approaching footsteps. Alex looked up to see a familiar silhouette walking purposefully between the rocket components. Elon Musk emerged from the shadows, his hands casually tucked into the pockets of his dark jacket, his expression carrying that characteristic blend of exhaustion and unwavering focus that had become his trademark. "Planning to spend the night here, Alex?" Musk asked, his voice carrying easily across the cavernous space as he approached the workstation. Alex hesitated for a moment, unsure whether to stand or remain seated. He settled for swiveling his chair to face the CEO. "Sometimes the code demands more patience than the stars do," he replied, managing a tired smile. Musk's eyebrows rose slightly, a hint of amusement flickering across his features. "And we need that code to reach those stars," he said, moving closer to examine the screens filled with complex algorithms and trajectory calculations. Chapter 2. Walking Among Giants. The two men began walking together through the hangar's central corridor, their footsteps echoing against the concrete floor. Towering above them, the Falcon Heavy's boosters stood like sleeping giants, their pristine white surfaces reflecting the overhead neon lights. The scale was breathtaking. Each rocket stood nearly as tall as a 20-story building, yet they were designed to dance among the stars with precision. Alex had walked this path countless times, but tonight, with Musk beside him, everything seemed more significant. The ambient hum of machinery, the distant sound of technicians working on night shifts, the subtle vibration of systems running their endless diagnostics. It all felt like a symphony of human ambition. "You know," Alex began, gathering courage to voice the question that had been haunting him for months. "Don't you ever feel afraid? Carrying this much responsibility, sending people beyond Earth, knowing they might never return." Musk slowed his pace, his gaze drifting upward toward the small skylights in the hangar's ceiling. Through the glass, stars were barely visible against the urban light pollution, but their presence felt profound nonetheless. He remained quiet for several moments, as if weighing not just his words but the philosophy behind them. "Fear is natural," he finally said, his voice softer now, more contemplative. "But fear becomes the enemy of progress when we let it paralyze us. If we had always chosen the safe path, humanity would still be huddled in caves, afraid of what lay beyond the next valley." Alex felt something shift inside him as he absorbed these words. This wasn't just corporate inspiration speak. This was a man who had genuinely wrestled with the moral implications of pushing humanity toward its next evolutionary step. Chapter 3. The Weight of Dreams. They paused beside a massive display showing the trajectory of the next Mars mission. The red planet appeared as a distant dot on the screen, but the mathematical precision required to reach it was staggering. Thousands of variables, millions of calculations, all dependent on code that Alex and his colleagues were perfecting. "When I was your age," Musk continued, studying the display, "I read science fiction and dreamed of a future where traveling between planets was as routine as flying between cities. But dreams without action are just fantasies. The difference between dreamers and achievers isn't the size of their vision. It's their willingness to take the first step, even when the outcome is uncertain." Alex nodded, feeling the truth of those words resonate through him. He thought about his own journey, from a computer science student fascinated by space to an engineer whose algorithms would literally guide humanity to another world. "The code I'm writing," Alex said slowly, "it's not just about navigation, is it? It's about proving that we can do this, that we can actually live beyond Earth." "Exactly," Musk replied, turning to face him directly. Every line of code, every test, every failure and success, they're all building blocks in humanity's greatest construction project. We're not just building rockets, Alex. We're building a bridge to the future. Chapter 4. The Philosophy of Risk. As they continued their nocturnal tour of the facility, passing by workstations where other dedicated engineers were solving problems that had never existed before, Musk began sharing his perspective on risk and innovation. People often ask me about the dangers, he said, gesturing toward a display showing the Mars colony architectural plans. They want to know how I can sleep at night, knowing that we're sending people on a journey from which they might not return. But here's what they don't understand. Staying on Earth isn't safe either. It's just a different kind of risk. Alex listened intently as Musk explained his philosophy. Climate change, potential asteroid impacts, the gradual depletion of resources. Earth itself faced long-term existential challenges. The Mars project wasn't just about exploration. It was about ensuring humanity's survival. We're not abandoning Earth, Musk emphasized. We're creating options. We're giving our species the gift of choice. And sometimes, the riskiest thing you can do is nothing at all. The conversation turned to the technical challenges they face daily. The radiation exposure during the journey to Mars, the psychological strain of isolation, the engineering complexities of creating a self-sustaining colony on a hostile planet. Each problem seemed insurmountable until you broke it down into solvable components. Chapter 5. The Human Element. You know what keeps me up at night? Alex admitted as they stood before a mock-up of the Mars Habitat module. It's not the technical challenges. We can solve those. It's the human element. The astronauts who will trust our systems with their lives. The families they'll leave behind. The moment when Earth becomes just another point of light in the Martian sky. Musk was quiet for a long moment, his expression growing more serious. That's exactly why we need people like you on this project, he said finally. Engineers who understand that we're not just solving technical problems. We're holding human dreams and fears in our hands. He walked over to a photograph mounted on the wall, the famous image of Earth taken from the Apollo 8 mission, showing their blue marble of a planet suspended in the cosmic void. Every astronaut who has seen Earth from space comes back changed, he said. They understand something fundamental about our place in the universe. The people we send to Mars will be ambassadors not just for their countries, but for our entire species. Alex felt a profound shift in his understanding of his work. The algorithms he wrote weren't just mathematical constructs. They were lifelines. They were the invisible threads that would keep human beings connected to home while they ventured into the ultimate unknown. Chapter 6. The Decision. As the night wore on, their conversation deepened into questions of legacy and purpose. Musk spoke about his vision of humanity becoming a multi-planetary species, not as science fiction, but as an achievable goal within their lifetimes. One day, he said, placing his hand against the smooth surface of a rocket booster, humanity will look back at moments like these. They'll say this is where we began our journey to the stars. Not in some distant future with impossible technology, but right here, right now, with the tools and determination we have today. Alex felt something crystallize within him. His career had started as a pursuit of interesting technical challenges, but now he understood it was something far greater. He was participating in the most important project in human history, the expansion of consciousness beyond Earth. The code we write today, Alex said, his voice filled with newfound conviction, will be running on computers light minutes away from Earth. Future generations of humans will depend on decisions we're making right now, in this hangar, at 2 in the morning. Musk smiled, the first genuine, unguarded smile Alex had seen from him all evening. That's the burden and the privilege of being alive at this moment in history, he said. We get to be the generation that takes the first real steps toward becoming a spacefaring civilization. Chapter 7. The Silent Understanding. As their impromptu tour came to an end, both men stood in comfortable silence, absorbing the magnitude of what they were part of. The hangar around them hummed with quiet activity, systems monitoring, data processing, the endless digital heartbeat of humanity's most ambitious undertaking. I should let you get back to your code, Musk said finally, but he made no immediate move to leave. And I should let you get some sleep, Alex replied. though he too seemed reluctant to end this unexpected conversation. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was filled with mutual understanding. Two minds, separated by decades and vastly different life experiences, had found common ground in their shared commitment to pushing the boundaries of what was possible. "Alex," Musk said as he finally turned to go, "remember that every great achievement in history started with someone who was willing to believe that impossible was just another word for untested." Chapter 8. The Technical Challenge. As Musk prepared to leave, Alex found himself compelled to share the specific challenge that had been consuming his nights. "We're dealing with a 7-minute communication delay with Mars," he explained, pulling up a complex simulation on his screen. "When something goes wrong during landing, our astronauts will be entirely dependent on the autonomous systems we're building right now." Musk paused, drawn back by the technical discussion. "The 7 minutes of terror," he said, referencing the infamous phrase describing Mars landings, "but multiplied by human lives instead of just robotic missions." "Exactly," Alex continued, his fingers dancing across the keyboard to show different scenarios. "Every possible failure mode has to be anticipated and programmed. Engine malfunction during descent, communication blackout, unexpected weather patterns, dust storms that could last months. The AI has to make decisions that would challenge even our best mission commanders." They spent another hour diving deep into the technical specifications. Musk's engineering background became evident as he asked probing questions about fault tolerance, redundancy systems, and emergency protocols. This wasn't just a CEO checking on progress. This was one engineer consulting with another on humanity's greatest technical challenge. "The psychological impact on the crew concerns me too," Alex admitted. "Imagine being 140 million miles from home and watching your life support systems make decisions based on code written years earlier by someone you've never met. The trust required is absolute." Chapter 9. The Weight of Legacy. Their conversation evolved into a discussion about the broader implications of their work. Musk spoke about the historical parallel to the Apollo program, but emphasized how Mars colonization represented something fundamentally different. "Apollo was about demonstration," he explained, leaning against a workbench covered with circuit boards and testing equipment. "It was about proving we could reach the moon and return safely. Mars is about permanence. The first humans who land there aren't coming back, at least not for years, possibly decades." Alex considered this sobering reality. "So every system we design has to work not just for the journey, but for building a new civilization. These aren't explorers, they're pioneers in the truest sense. And that's what makes this both terrifying and exhilarating," Musk replied. "We're not just sending people to Mars. We're giving birth to a new branch of human civilization. The decisions we make in this hangar will influence how humans live and think on another planet." The conversation turned to the economic realities of the project. The massive investment required, the years of development, the public skepticism, and the political challenges of maintaining support across multiple presidential administrations. Each obstacle seemed designed to test their collective resolve. "Sometimes I wonder if we're attempting something beyond our current capabilities," Alex confessed. "The engineering challenges are one thing, but the sheer audacity of trying to make humans a multiplanetary species. Every impossible thing was impossible until someone did it," Musk interrupted gently. "Flight was impossible until the Wright brothers. Space travel was impossible until Gagarin. Landing on the moon was impossible until Armstrong. The pattern is always the same: vision, persistence, and the willingness to fail forward." Chapter 10. The Personal Cost. As they walked past displays showing the Mars habitat designs, Musk opened up about the personal sacrifices the project demanded, not just from the future astronauts, but from everyone involved in making it reality. "People ask me about work-life balance," he said with a wry smile. "But when you're trying to make life multiplanetary, the concept becomes somewhat abstract. This isn't just a job or even a career. It's a calling that demands everything you have to give." Alex nodded, thinking about his own life choices. Relationships postponed, social events missed, weekends spent debugging code that might one day keep humans alive on Mars. "My friends think I'm obsessed," he said. "They don't understand why I spend 18-hour days on something that might not succeed. The people who change the world are always thought to be obsessed by those who prefer the status quo. Musk replied. But obsession is just passion with a clear target. And our target happens to be the survival and expansion of human consciousness throughout the solar system. Epilogue: The dawn of tomorrow. Alone again with his computers as the first rays of sunlight began filtering through the hangar's high windows, Alex looked at his code with transformed understanding. Each function, each variable, each algorithm was no longer just a technical solution. It was a small but crucial part of humanity's next evolutionary leap. The weight of that responsibility didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt like the most meaningful work he could possibly do. Outside the hangar, dawn was beginning to break over the California coast. The same sun that lit Earth's skies would one day shine on human settlements across the solar system. And in some small but significant way, the work being done in this quiet hangar in the early hours of morning was helping to make that future inevitable rather than just possible. The silence returned to the hangar, but now it was pregnant with possibility rather than emptiness. It was the silence of potential energy waiting to be unleashed, of dreams taking their first concrete steps toward reality, of humanity preparing to write its next chapter among the stars. Alex smiled as he turned back to his computer screen, ready to continue building the bridge to tomorrow.